This is the Men Refined podcast.
Hey friends, welcome to the Men Refined podcast. I'm your host, Rafael Sifontes, and in this episode, it's going to be a simple one, a short one per se, just you and I here. I wanted to encourage you before we jump into today's topic, which is going to be about relationships, marriage, and being faithful in that marriage relationship. I want to encourage you to browse through our collection of episodes. We have currently about 22 episodes out there that we have spent a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of time into curating this. There's good content out there. I would like to encourage you to listen to episode number 20, A Journey of Faith with Jerry Abendrup. It's a great episode, so much insight in this episode. It will mean the world to me if you can give it a listen. I am sure it will encourage you. Another good episode that we had in the past has been men's leadership at home. How does that work in this time and age? This episode, I sat down with Pastor John Churchill. He's a church planter from Miami. Very interesting take from his own life and journey. Episode 14, men's leadership at home. I definitely encourage you to give it a listen. Now, in this episode, I want to talk to you about marriage and the faithfulness that have to happen within the marriage. Marriage is a sacred institution that has been in existence for centuries. For Christians, it is a covenant between two individuals, a man and a woman, and God, which should be respected and upheld. One of the essential components of a successful and fulfilling marriage is faithfulness. Faithfulness in marriage means being committed to one's spouse and maintaining sexual purity. So we're going to discuss why being faithful in marriage is crucial for Christians. First and foremost, faithfulness in marriage is a commandment from God. In the Bible, the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 14, it says, "You shall not commit adultery." This commandment is reiterated in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5, verse 8. It says, "Therefore, for Christians, being faithful in marriage is not optional, but a requirement. It is a way of obeying God's commandments and living in accordance with His will." Secondly, faithfulness in marriage is a reflection of the love that Christ has for the church. Ephesians chapter 5, verses 25 through 27 says, "Husbands, love your wife, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her to take her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. Just as Christ was faithful to the church, husbands are expected to be faithful to their wives. It is a demonstration of the sacrificial love that Christ displayed on the cross." Thirdly, being faithful in marriage is essential for building trust and intimacy in their relationship. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship. And when a spouse is unfaithful, it can destroy the trust that has been built over time. It can also lead to emotional pain, insecurity, and resentment, which can negatively impact the relationship. On the other hand, when spouses are faithful to each other, it creates a safe space for intimacy, vulnerability, and emotional connection. It solidifies the bond between them and makes the relationship more fulfilling and more strong in itself. First and foremost, putting Christ at the center of it all. Fourthly, faithfulness in a marriage is crucial for the well-being of children, because we need to bear children. Children who grow up in homes where there is infidelity often experience emotional trauma and can develop trust issues in their own relationships. It can also lead to the breakdown of the family unit. which can have long-term negative effects on the children's emotional, social, and academic development. On the other hand, children who grow up in homes where there is faithfulness between their parents are more likely to develop healthy relationships in the future. Fifthly, being faithful in a marriage is a testimony of the world. Christians are called to be salt and light in the world, and the way we live our lives can be a witness to those around us. When Christians are faithful in their marriages, it shows the world that God's ways are good and that His commandments can be obeyed. It can also inspire others to pursue healthy and faithful relationships in their own lives. Being faithful in marriage is essential for Christians for several reasons. It is a commandment of God, a reflection of Christ's love for the church, crucial for building trust and intimacy in the relationship, important for the well-being of children, and a testimony to the world. Christians are called to honor their marriage vows, remain faithful to their spouses, and uphold the sanctity of marriage. It is not always easy, and there may be challenges along the way, but with God's help, it is possible to be faithful and build a fulfilling and lasting marriage. Now, let me just say, I want to point into 4 ways that we can protect the marriage between a man and a woman in a Christian worldview. So, as a covenant between 2 individuals, man and a woman, and God, right? Marriage is a sacred institution that requires protection and preservation. For Christians, a marriage that is grounded in faith and guided by biblical principles can flourish and withstand any challenge that may come its way. Here are 4 ways to protect the marriage between a man and a woman with a Christian worldview. Number 1, pray together and individually. Prayer is definitely a powerful tool that can help couples build a strong and lasting marriage. And this is something that I can get better at. Sometimes we do pray together, sometimes we don't. It's not something that we do all the time. I'll take full responsibility of it. And I need to get better at this. So I'm going to say it. It is essential to pray together as a couple, asking God to guide and bless their marriage. This helps to keep the couple connected to God and strengthen and solidifies their faith in Him, in God. In addition to praying together, it is also important for each person in the marriage, either the man and the woman, to have personal prayer time. Praying individually helps to solidify each partner's personal relationship with God, which in turn solidifies their marriage. Number 2, prioritize communication. Communication, huh? Well, communication is a vital part of any relationship, especially in marriage. A healthy marriage requires open and honest communication between the couple. Effective communication involves listening actively and empathetically, being respectful of each other's opinions, and expressing oneself in a loving and kind manner. Communication helps to prevent misunderstandings and also conflicts, which can cause damage to the relationship. Number 3, set boundaries. Boundaries are essential in protecting a marriage. It is important to set boundaries to protect the couple's emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. These boundaries may include things like avoiding relationships with individuals who may pose a threat to the marriage, not engaging in activities that could lead to temptation or compromise, and setting limits in time spent on work or other commitments to prioritize time spent together as a couple. Boundaries can help to maintain a healthy balance in the marriage and also ensures that each person in the marriage needs are being met. Did I say it right? Yeah. Boundaries can help maintain a healthy balance in the marriage and ensure that each person's needs are being met. And number 4, seek counsel, seek support. Marriage is not always easy. Amen? And there may be times when the couple needs outside help and support. So, seeking counsel and support from a trusted Christian counselor or pastor can help the couple navigate challenges and maintain a healthy marriage. It is important to seek help early because the problem can become even worse or too complicated to resolve if you don't find help early. Additionally, being a part of a Christian community, such as a small group, a church, can also provide the couple with support and encouragement from others who share their values and beliefs. Now, like I said, this is going to be a short episode, just a few minutes. In conclusion today, protecting a marriage between a man and a woman with a Christian worldview involves praying together and individually, prioritizing communication, setting boundaries, and seeking counsel and support. So, by incorporating these practices into their marriage, couples can build a strong and lasting relationship that is grounded in faith and guided by biblical principles. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Just make sure to rate this podcast if you have not done it yet, and also send a review to us. There's a couple of questions under each episode that if you can answer those, it will mean the world to me. It will help me understand where you are. And if this episode has bring any value whatsoever to you, first of all, thank you for listening to this episode. And second of all, make sure you share this episode with somebody else. It will mean the world to me. Thanks again. Until next time. God bless you.